Hey, what is up, guys? I'm your boy Nick with Pick My Man. This video we're gonna be talking about the over and unders on this UFC 294 full card. The DraftKings over and under just dropped right now, so I was able to do my research and get this video out to you guys as soon as I could before the lines get hammered, because I know we're gonna see a lot of action coming in on these lines. This is one of the biggest card of 2023, so I expect a lot of money to come in, and we should see some line movement today within 24 hours. So I wanted to get this video out to you guys as soon as I could. It's still like 6 o'clock here, 6 o'clock in the morning here in Canada. So please hit the like down below and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. I'm on that grind. You guys already know I'm on that grind. Let's get right into it, guys. First up on the card, we have Shura Magomedov taking on Bruno Silva, and the over and under is set up at 1.5. The over 1.5 is at -130, and the under 1.5 is +100. I do like the under 1.5 here. Bruno Silva, he's had 7 fights in the UFC, and 4 of those fights have ended in the very first round, and I expect this fight to end in the first round too. I think it's gonna end either in the first round or it's gonna end within the 7-minute mark. So I do like the under 1.5 at plus money here. Alright, guys, next up, let's go to the next one now. Next up, we have girls going at it. We have Jinyu Frey taking on Victoria Dudikova. Jinyu Frey is underdog, and Victoria Dudikova is the pretty big white favorite here. And over and under is set up at over 2.5. Over 2.5 is at -250, and under 2.5 is +190. Frey has had 7 fights in the UFC, and of 7 fights, he's only been finished twice in those fights, and once by KO and once by submission, I think. And I do like the over 2.5 here. I think Dudikova is still very new. She's still very green. She's going to be taking a jump up in competition here. And I do think this fight goes to scorecards. I do like Dudikova on the scorecards. Alright, guys, next up, we have Nathaniel Wood coming in at -340, taking on Muhammad Naimov, coming in as a dog at +270. And I do like the over 2.5 here. The over and under set up at 2.5 is -166. Under 2.5 is +130. Wood has been finished once in 9 UFC fights, and now I think that was past the 2.5 mark. And I do like the over 2.5 here at -166. Let's go to the next one, guys. Next up, we have Unso Jubilee coming in at -310, and versus Mike Breeden coming in at +250. The over and under is set up at over 1.5. Over and under set up at 1.5. Over 1.5 is -195, and under 1.5 is +150. I do like the under 1.5 here. Mike Breeden, every time he starts exchanging in the striking range, he doesn't have the best durability. He's been finished in his 3 losses back to back in the UFC. He's 0-3 in the UFC, and he's been finished in the first round in those 2 losses. He's been finished, and he's lost once by decision. I do think Jubilee has the punching power to put him away. I do like the under 1.5 here. Alright, guys, next up, we have Cedricus Dumas coming in at -230, taking on Abu Jaitar, coming in at +190, guys. I do like the over and under set up at 1.5. The over 1.5 is -150, and under 1.5 is +120. I do like the under 1.5 here, but Jaitar has shown some toughness. This dude is pretty tough. He's not gonna give up on himself, but he's got one of the worst cardios that I've ever seen in my life in the UFC. This dude was gasping for air last time. He fights like once every 3 or 4 years. He's got plenty of money. He doesn't need the money, so he's not that hungry. I do like the under 1.5. I think he's gonna look really. He's gonna have a lot of ring rust coming in. He hasn't fought in over 3 years almost, and I do think Cedricus Dumas can get him out of there in the first round. I do like the under 1.5 at +120, guys. Alright, guys, next up, we have Javid Basra coming in at -575, taking on Victor Henry, coming in as a dog at +425. Damn, these lines are fucking wide. Holy shit. The over and under is set up at 2.5. Over 2.5 is minus 250, and under 2.5 is plus 190, guys. I do like the over 2.5. Javid Basharat, I mean, he's gonna fight smart. He doesn't take a lot of risks in his fights. He doesn't put himself in danger. Victor Henry has never been finished in his career, in MMA overall, not just in the UFC. I mean, so I do like the over 2.5. I do think this fight goes to scorecards, and I like Basharat to win by decision in this fight. You guys know my pick, anyways. It's not a secret. But I do think this fight's gonna be a lot competitive than people think. Alright, guys, let's go to the next one now. Next up, we have Muhammad Yahya coming in as a dog at plus 136, taking on Trevor P, coming in as a favorite at minus 162. The total is set at over 1.5 is even money, and under 1.5 is even money also. I'm not sure about this one, guys. I do think if Trevor Peak really puts the pressure on him from the get-go, he can get him out of there in the first round. Yahya has 3 career losses, and he's been finished in all of them. I think he's been submitted twice and TKO'd once, and then 2 of those came in the first round, I think. Yeah, it was in the first round. He's been submitted in the clubbed and subbed in the first round. So I do like the under 1.5 here, minus 115, even money. Let's go to the next one, guys. Next one, we have flyweight. We have Tim Elliott coming in at plus 350, taking on Muhammad Makhachev, coming in as a favorite at minus 455. The total is set at 2.5, and the over 2.5 is minus 195. The under 2.5 is plus 150. Elliott has been subbed 4 times in the UFC, so I mean, majority of those coming under 2.5 rounds. But in the last couple of fights, he's gone 4-1. He looks pretty good. Looks like he's really taking his training serious. And most of his losses have come in under 2.5 rounds. But Makhachev's last 2 finishes were over 2.5 rounds. So I'm not too sure about this. Makhachev is coming off an injury. But I do think Tim Elliott's going to wrestle, try to go for takedowns. Maybe Makhachev can lock in a guillotine choke. I do like the under 2.5 rounds here, guys, at plus 150. I do think Makhachev can get a choke in early. At plus 150, I do like that. Let's go to the next one, guys. Next up, we have Saidnir Magomedov coming in at minus 218, taking on Moon Gafra, coming in as a dog at plus 180. The total set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 125, and under 2.5 is minus 105. This is basically even money. I think they want most people to put money on the over 2.5, but I do think Saidnir Magomedov is very, very, very dangerous with those submissions. If Moon Gafra goes in for a lazy takedown, maybe Saidnir Magomedov can lock in that guillotine choke. This dude loves that guillotine choke. He submitted Saidnir Kakramanov, I think that's his name, Said Yukub Kakramanov, yeah. So that dude is really good. Moon Gafra has never been submitted or finished in his career, so it's gonna be tough to get him out of there. Sorry, guys, I'm fucking yawning. I'm so tired. I do think Said has finished 4 of his 6 wins in the UFC. All 4 finishes have come under 2.5 rounds. So I do like the under 2.5 rounds here. I think we're gonna see a lot of violence in this fight. But Gaffarov has never been finished, so I don't know if I'm gonna be playing this prop under 2.5. But I do like it at even money. Let's go to the next one, guys. Next up, we have Ikram Aliskerov coming in at minus 625, taking on Warley Alvarez, coming in at plus 455. The total set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is plus 120. The under 1.5 is minus 162. The bookies are expecting a quick finish here in the first round, and I do agree with them. Alvarez has shown durability issues in the UFC, and the Wells was able to easily get him out of there in the second round, I think it was. And Ikram Aliskerov has finished his last 2 fights in the very first round, guys. I do like Ikram Aliskerov here. I think he gets it done in the first round. And this is a short notice replacement for Ikram Aliskerov. He was supposed to take on Nasruddin Imavov, who's a top contender. I do think he gets Warley Alvarez out of there in the first round. I do like the under 1.5 at minus 162. Let's go to the next one, guys. Next up, at light heavyweight, we have Magomed Ankalaev taking on Johnny Walker. Ankalaev is minus 360. Walker coming in at plus 285. The total is set at 1.5, and the over 1.5 is minus 150, and under 1.5 is plus 115. Walker has been finished in 2 of his 4 losses in the UFC, both in the very first round. So it's not like this dude has a solid chin, but he's really turned up his training. He's really taking his career serious in the last couple of fights. He's on a 3-5 winning streak right now. But he's very dangerous in the first round too, so I'm not sure if I want to take a chance on the totals here in this fight. But I do like the over 1.5 here at minus 150. I do think both of these guys know there's a lot on the line. This is they're probably the winner probably fights for the title next, and I do think they're gonna fight a technical fight. I do think maybe if there is a finish, maybe it's gonna be later in the second round or third round. I do like over 1.5 at minus 150. Let's go to the co-main event now, guys. Next up, co-main event, we have Kamaru Usman coming in as a dog at plus 235. I think this is the first time he's an underdog in quite a long time. He's taking on the really hot prospect out of Sweden, Hamzat Chimaev, coming in as a favorite at minus 290. The total set at 1.5, and the over 1.5 is minus 167, and the under 1.5 is plus 125. And I do agree with these totals, man. I do think Kamaru Usman is very tough. He's not got some bum that you're just gonna go out there, wrestle, take him down, and just submit him right away. But Chimaev, I mean, that's what he's done to majority of his UFC opponents. I mean, Chimaev has finished 5 of his UFC wins in the UFC. The only guy he hasn't finished is Gilbert Durinho Burns, who's a top contender at welterweight. 4 of those finishes came under 1.5 rounds in the first round. This is a huge jump up in competition. I do think this fight goes to the second round. Maybe we see a finish later in the second round. I do like Chimaev round 1 and round 2 finish at plus 110. This prop has already gone down to plus 100. I think this prop is gonna go down even lower. I do think a lot of people are gonna play this prop. If he's not able to finish Usman in the first 2 rounds, I don't think he finishes him in the third round. Usman probably has the better cardio. He has a better experience in the UFC, and I do think this fight hits the scorecards if we don't see a finish in the first 2 rounds. I do like the over 1.5 here at minus 167. Alright, guys, next up in the main event of the evening, guys, we have Islam Makhachev coming in at minus 290, taking on Alexander Volkanovski. The total set at 4.5. This is the second rematch. This is their second fight. This is the rematch, guys. Damn, I'm fucking yawning. My bad, guys. I'm gonna go to sleep after this. I'm freaking tired. Anyways, guys, the total set at 4.5, and I do like over 4.5 is minus 125, and under 4.5 is minus 108. What does worry me about these totals, Volkanovski, I mean, this dude is taking this on short notice, but he's training all the time, man. Don't let that fool you. This dude is always freaking training. He's a number 1 pound for pound fighter for a reason. Islam Makhachev has only been finished once in 14 UFC fights, and it was in the first round. Volkanovski also has 14 UFC fights, and he's never been finished in the UFC. His only career finish came very early on in his career at welterweight when he fought up at 170 before he made it to the UFC. I do like the over 4.5 rounds here. I think both of these guys are top level guys. They both have very well rounded games. Both of them don't have a lot of holes in their games. Unless one of them catches each other, maybe then we could see a finish here. But I do think this fight hits the scorecards again, guys. Alright, guys, hit the like down below. Leave us subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. And I apologize for yawning in this video. My bad about that. Anyways, guys, subscribe to the channel. We're so close to 350 subscribers. I want to thank all of you guys that are subscribing, liking the videos. I appreciate you guys a lot. And take care of yourself. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'll be making more content throughout the week, guys. Later, guys. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you later. Don't forget to like the video, guys. Later.